Ryan first saw Emma at a bookstore. She was reading his favorite novel. He was immediately drawn to her. Her laughter was like music. Her eyes sparkled with intelligence and warmth. He knew he had to meet her. He worked up the courage to approach her. They talked for hours that day. They discussed their favorite authors, their dreams, their fears. It felt like they had known each other forever. As days turned into weeks, their bond grew stronger. They were two souls intertwined. Their love story was like a fairy tale, full of laughter, shared dreams, and a love that knew no bounds. They were inseparable, two halves of a whole. One rainy evening, Ryan and Emma were driving home after a romantic dinner. The rain was relentless, visibility was low, the roads were slick. Suddenly, a car skidded on the wet road. It veered into their lane. Ryan swerved to avoid a collision. He lost control of the car. Everything went black. When Ryan woke up, he was in a hospital bed. He was battered and bruised, but alive. He frantically asked about Emma. A wave of fear washed over him. He had to see her. A doctor entered the room, his face grim. He explained that Emma was in a coma. Days turned into weeks. Emma finally woke up, but she had no memory of the accident or of Ryan. She had amnesia. Ryan was devastated. He refused to give up hope. He visited Emma every day, telling her stories of their love, showing her pictures, hoping something would spark a memory. He clung to the belief that their love was strong enough to overcome this. He would help her remember. He had to. Their love story wasn't over, it couldn't be. Weeks later, Emma was well enough to be discharged. One evening, Ethan took Emma to a local park. It was the same park where Ryan and Emma had their first date. While walking, they were confronted by a group of shady individuals demanding money. Ethan, visibly scared, froze. Emma, sensing danger, instinctively reacted. She pushed Ethan aside and confronted the group. The shock of the situation triggered something in Emma's mind. Flashes of memories, vivid and confusing, flooded her mind. The park. The feeling of fear, it was all too familiar. She saw glimpses of a face, a man, but the image was blurred. The police arrived and the group scattered. The scene was chaotic, with flashing lights illuminating the night and casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air was thick with tension and fear as people ran in all directions, desperate to escape the unfolding drama. The police, with their stern faces and authoritative presence, moved swiftly to secure the area, their radios crackling with urgent updates. It was a night that would be etched in the memories of those present. A night when the thin veneer of normalcy was shattered by the harsh reality of deceit and betrayal. Emma was shaken but unharmed. Her eyes darted around, taking in the scene with a mixture of relief and lingering fear. She clutched her arms around herself, trying to steady her trembling body. The events of the night had left her rattled, but she was grateful to be safe. Her mind raced, replaying the moments leading up to the police's arrival. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, that the danger was far from over. As she stood there, surrounded by the chaos, she knew she had to find answers. That night, while Ethan slept in the guest room, Emma had a vivid dream. Her sleep was restless, filled with fragmented images and unsettling sensations. She tossed and turned, her mind unable to find peace. The dream was unlike any she had experienced before, so vivid and real that it felt like she was living it. She found herself in a misty landscape, the air thick with an eerie silence. As she wandered through the fog, a sense of foreboding gripped her heart. She knew she was about to uncover something significant, something that would change everything. She saw Ryan's face clearly for the first time. It was as if the mist parted just for her, revealing his features with startling clarity. His eyes, filled with a mix of sorrow and determination, seemed to bore into her soul. She felt a connection, a recognition that went beyond the physical. This was the face that had been haunting her thoughts, the missing piece of a puzzle she didn't even know she was trying to solve. The dream left her with more questions than answers, but it also gave her a sense of direction, a path she knew she had to follow. She woke up with a gasp. She knew that face. Her heart pounded in her chest as she sat up in bed, the remnants of the dream still clinging to her consciousness. She couldn't shake the image of Ryan's face, so clear and vivid in her mind. It was as if he was trying to tell her something, to warn her of the danger she was in. She knew she couldn't ignore it. The dream had given her a sense of urgency, a need to uncover the truth before it was too late. It was the missing piece of her puzzle. As she sat there, deep in thought, the pieces began to fall into place. The strange occurrences, the feeling of being watched, the inexplicable sense of danger. It all made sense now. Ryan was the key, the link that connected everything. She had to find him, to understand what was happening. The realization hit her like a bolt of lightning, filling her with a renewed sense of purpose. She couldn't let fear hold her back any longer. She had to act, and she had to act now. The next morning, Emma confronted Ethan. She couldn't wait any longer. The dream had given her the courage she needed to face him. She found him in the living room, his back turned to her as he sipped his coffee. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation. "Ethan!" she called out, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. He turned to face her, a look of surprise on his face. "We need to talk," she said, her eyes locking onto his. She could see the flicker of panic in his eyes, a telltale sign that he knew what was coming. His initial reaction, a flash of panic in his eyes, confirmed her suspicions. He had been lying. She could see it in the way his eyes darted around, searching for an escape. "What is it, Emma?" he asked, trying to sound casual, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. She took a step closer, her gaze unwavering. "I know you've been lying to me," she said, her voice firm. "I saw Ryan's face in my dream. I know he's connected to all of this." Ethan's face paled, and she knew she had hit a nerve. The truth was about to come out, and there was no turning back. He wasn't who he claimed to be. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. The man she had trusted, the man who had been by her side through the chaos, was not who he appeared to be. She could see the guilt written all over his face, the way he avoided her gaze. "Who are you really?" she demanded, her voice rising. "Why have you been lying to me?" Ethan's shoulders slumped and he let out a heavy sigh. The facade was crumbling and the truth was finally coming to light. He broke down and admitted everything. The weight of his deception was too much to bear. "I'm sorry, Emma," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "I never wanted to hurt you." He buried his face in his hands, the guilt and shame overwhelming him. Emma watched in silence, her heart aching with a mix of anger and sadness. She had trusted him, and he had betrayed her in the worst possible way. But she needed to hear the truth, no matter how painful it was. He had been paid to get close to her after the accident. The revelation hit her like a punch to the gut. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan looked up, his eyes filled with regret. "After your accident, someone approached me," he explained. "They offered me a large sum of money to get close to you, to keep you away from Ryan." Emma's mind raced, trying to process the information. "Who?" she demanded. "Who was behind it?" Ethan shook his head, his expression one of helplessness. He didn't know who was behind it, but he was promised a large sum of money if he kept Emma away from Ryan. "I don't know," he said, his voice filled with frustration. "They never told me their identity. All I know is that they were willing to pay a fortune to keep you and Ryan apart." Emma's mind was a whirlwind of emotions. She felt betrayed, confused, and determined all at once. She knew she had to find out who was behind this, to uncover the truth and put an end to the web of deceit that had ensnared her life. The journey ahead would be difficult, but she was ready to face it head on. a moment of reconnection, a moment where the past and present collided. She hoped that these words would be the beginning of their healing, the start of a new chapter in their lives. Tears of joy streamed down Ryan's face. He had been waiting for this moment for what felt like an eternity. Every day, he had hoped and prayed for a miracle, and now, it was finally here. The emotions he felt were overwhelming. A mix of relief, happiness, and an indescribable sense of fulfillment. It was as if the weight of the world had been lifted off his shoulders. He held her tightly, afraid to let go. The warmth of her body against his was a reassurance that this was real, that she was truly back. He could feel her heartbeat, steady and strong, a rhythm that matched his own. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, one that he wished could last forever. He had waited so long for this moment. Every day had been a struggle, a battle against despair and hopelessness, but he had never given up, never stopped believing that one day they would be together again. And now, that day had come. The look of relief on his face was unmistakable, a testament to the trials and tribulations they had endured. He took her hand and led her to the couch. It was a simple gesture, but it spoke volumes. It was a promise of a future together, a future where they could create new memories and cherish the old ones. As they sat down, he couldn't help but feel a sense of peace, a calm that he hadn't felt in a long time. He opened a photo album, the same one he had shown her countless times in the hospital. Each page was a testament to their love, a chronicle of their journey together. The photos captured moments of joy, laughter, and even sorrow, but each one was a reminder of the bond they shared. As they turned the pages, Emma's memories came flooding back. Each photograph was a key that unlocked a part of her past, a past that she had struggled to remember. The thoughtful expression on her face showed that she was piecing together the fragments of her memory, slowly but surely. Each picture, each shared moment, rekindled the love that had been buried deep within her. The warmth of her smile was a beacon of hope, a sign that she was finding her way back to him. They reminisced over old photos, laughing at the silly moments and cherishing the tender ones. It was a journey through time, a journey that brought them closer together. The park, the accident, the overwhelming feeling of love and loss, it all came rushing back. The memories were vivid, almost as if they had happened yesterday. The park where they had spent countless hours together, the accident that had changed everything, and the love that had endured through it all. It was a whirlwind of emotions, but through it all the love they shared remained constant. They were finally reunited, their love story given a second chance. The tearful smiles on their faces were a testament to the strength of their bond, a bond that had withstood the test of time and adversity. They held each other tightly, knowing that they had been given a precious gift, a chance to start anew. They knew their journey hadn't been easy, but they had found their way back to each other. The road ahead was still uncertain, but they were ready to face it together. Hand in hand, they walked forward, determined to make the most of the second chance they had been given. Their smiles were a reflection of their hope and determination, a promise to cherish every moment they had together. Their love, like a sturdy ship, had weathered the storm and sailed into the calm waters of a happy ending. The horizon was a symbol of the future, a future that they would face together. As they stood on the ship deck, looking out at the endless expanse of the sea, they knew that their love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. It was a love that had been tested and had emerged stronger, a love that would endure for a lifetime.